LETTER the 44th of Life in Mexico. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Life in Mexico by Francis Calderon de la Barca. LETTER the 44th. Agitation, storm, revolution, manifesto, resembling a game of chess, position of the pieces, appearance of the city, firing, state of parties, comparisons, comicios, the people, Congress, Santa Anna. Amnesty offered, roaring of cannon, proclamation, time to look at home, the will of the nation, different feelings, judge's house destroyed, the mint and requisition, preparations, cannonading, Los Enanos. 31st. This afternoon the clouds, gathered together in gloomy masses, announced a thunderstorm, and at the same time a certain degree of agitation, apparently pervading the city, was suddenly observable from our balconies. Shops were shutting up, people hurrying in all directions, heads at all the windows, and men looking out from the azoteas. But as these symptoms were immediately followed by a tremendous storm of thunder and lightning, and splashing rain, we trusted that the cause had been very simple. But these elements of nature are wielded by the hand that called them forth, and can stay them at his will, and the sun breaking forth smilingly and scattering the clouds made us feel that the storm had but refreshed the parched earth and cleared the sultry atmosphere. Not so with the storm which has been brooding in the hearts of a handful of ambitious men, and which has burst forth at last, its bolts directed by no wise or merciful power, and by the hands of selfish and designing and short-sighted mortals. The storm, though short, had not passed away when news was brought us of a new revolution in Mexico. General Valencia, he who pronounced, but 2 short months ago, the high-flown and flattering speech to the president on receiving the sword of honor, has now pronounced in a very different and much clearer manner. Listen to him now. Soldiers, the despotism of the Mexican government, the innumerable evils which the nation suffers, the unceasing remonstrances which have been made against these evils, and which have met with no attention, have forced us to take a step this evening, which is not one of rebellion, but is the energetic expression of our resolution to sacrifice everything to the common good and interest. The cause which we defend is that of all Mexicans, of the rich as of the poor, of the soldier as of the civilian. We want a country, a government, the felicity of our homes, and respect from without, and we shall obtain all, let us not doubt it. The nation will be moved by our example, the arms which our country has given us for her defense, we shall know how to employ in restoring her honor, an honor which the government has stained by not acknowledging the total absence of morality and energy in the actual authorities. The army which made her independent shall also render her powerful and free. The illustrious General Santa Anna today marches to Puebla, at the head of our heroic companions at Vera Cruz, while upon Querétaro, already united to the valiant General Paredes, the brave General Cortázar now begins his operations. In a few days we shall see the other forces of the Republic in motion, all cooperating to the same end. The triumph is secure, my friends, and the cause which we proclaim is so noble, that conquerors we shall be, covered with glory, and happen what may, we shall be honored by our fellow citizens. In this manifesto, which is mere declamation, there is no plan. It appears that no one particularly counted upon General Valencia, and that, whether fearing to be left out in the events which he saw approaching, or apprehensive of being arrested by the government, who suspected him, he has thought it wisest to strike a blow on his own account. Pacheco, who commanded the citadel, together with Generals Lombardini and Sales, who had been ordered out to march with their respective regiments against the pronunciados, are now in the citadel, and in a state of revolt. The 2 last had but just received money for the payment of their troops on the preceding day. 8 o'clock. Nothing further but that the president has sallied forth on horseback from San Agustin, and was received with repeated vivas by the people collected in the square. 1st September. This revolution is like a game at chess, in which kings, castles, knights, and bishops are making different moves, while the pawns are looking on or taking no part whatever. To understand the state of the board, it is necessary to explain the position of the four principal pieces, Santa Anna, Bustamante, Paredes, and Valencia. The first move was made by Paredes, who published his plan, and pronounced on the 8th of August at Guadalajara. About the same time, Don F. M., a Spanish broker, who had gone to Manga de Clavo, was sent to Guadalajara, and had a conference with Paredes, the result of which was, that the plan of that general was withdrawn, and it was supposed that he and Santa Anna had formed a combination. Shortly after, the Censor of Vera Cruz, a paper entirely devoted to Santa Anna, pronounced in favor of the plan of Paredes, and Santa Anna with a few miserable troops and a handful of cavalry arrived at Perote. Here he remains for the present, kept in check by the government, General Torrejon. Meanwhile, Paredes, with about 600 men, left Guadalajara and marched upon Guanajuato, and there a blow was given to the government party by the defection of General Cortázar, who thought fit thus to show his grateful sense of having just received the rank of General of Brigade, with the insignia of this new grade, which the president put on with his own hands. Another check to the president. Once begun, defection spread rapidly, and Paredes and Cortázar, having advanced upon Querétaro, found that General Juvera, with his garrison, had already pronounced there at the moment that they were expected in Mexico to assist the government against Valencia. Paredes, Cortázar, and Juvera are now united, and their forces amount to 2,200 men. Meanwhile, General Valencia, pressed to declare his plan, has replied that he awaits the announcement of the intentions of Generals Paredes and Santa Anna, and for his own part only desires the dismissal of General Bustamante. This, then, is the position of the three principal pronounced chiefs on this 2nd day of September of the year of our Lord 1841. Santa Anna, in Perote, hesitating whether to advance or retreat, and in fact prevented from doing either by the vicinity of General Torrejon. Paredes in Querétaro, with the other revolted generals. Valencia in the citadel of Mexico, with his pronunciados, while Bustamante, with Generals Almonte and Canalizo, the mark against which all these hostile operations are directed, is determined, it is said, to fight to the last. Mexico looks as if it had got a general holiday. Shops shut up, and all business is at a stand. The people, with the utmost apathy, are collected in groups, talking quietly; the officers are galloping about, generals in a somewhat parti-coloured dress, with large gray hats, striped pantaloons, old coats, and generals' belts, fine horses, and crimson-coloured velvet saddles. The shopkeepers in the square have been removing their goods and money. An occasional shot is heard, and sometimes a volley, succeeded by a dead silence. The archbishop shows his reverend face now and then upon the opposite balcony of his palace, looks out a little while, and then retires. The chief effect so far is universal idleness, in man and beast, the soldiers and their quadrupeds excepted. The position of the president, however, is not so bad as at first sight it might appear, or as it will be, if his enemies are permitted to reunite. He has upwards of 2,000 men, 12 pieces of ordnance, and though his infantry are few, and he has little artillery, he has good cavalry. Valencia has 1,200 men, 26 pieces of ordnance, with good infantry and almost all the artillery. The rebels have possessed themselves of the Acordada, and given liberty to those who are imprisoned for political opinions, a good loophole for the escape of criminals. Those who understand these matters say that the principal object of the government should be to reduce the rebels to the citadel only, and to occupy all the important points in its neighbourhood, San Diego, San Hipólito, San Fernando, etc., but as yet this has not been done.